That is also the day my marriage ended. So my Christmas I spent by my motherfucking self. But Draven, you have children and a wife. Funny you say that. So December 13th is a very emotional date for me now. Not just because Dick Van Dyke turned 100, not just because John Cena wrestled his last match ever. That is also the day my marriage ended. And I mean, it's kaput. So let me explain what had happened. Dark, you know me well enough that a lot of the times, a lot of issues are like water off a duck's back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't let anything bother me. I let it go. And I just bottle it up, which is not healthy. Let me be very clear on that. If you're the kind of person that bottles shit up, do not bottle shit up. It becomes cancerous after a while. So, and that's just what one of these situations turned into. Of I finally had enough of her attitude, how everything was going on at the house, how she was, how I was being treated, how everybody else is being treated, and maybe I said it a lot more aggressively than I should have. But I was at my wit's end. Keg exploded, bottle blew, and I put everything on the table. I'm not going to go into detail. I've told you guys in private what I've said to her. And she's the kind of person who she's always right. You know the type. And I basically told her everything that she thought she was right on, that she's not. I've told her that, you know, once again pushed me to the point of feeling like a roommate because you decide X, Y, and Z without either consent or input or anything like that by me in our house that has to do with our house, our financials, our kids. It's not a our, it's a your, and I'm not going to live with a your. This is supposed to be our home, not your house. And she didn't like what I had to say.
Shocker.
I asked her one time, you know, is there any chance of this being fixed, or do I just need to fuck off? And she said, I don't know. I said, your lack of answer is all the answer I need.
All right.
This makes the third time in 12 months I have packed up and left. This is strike three. This is not happening anymore. As much as I love you, as much as I've done for you, as much as we've done for each other, I can't kill myself anymore if you're just gonna be all high and mighty. If you can't accept the fact that I have issues with you that you refuse to fix, and you refuse to fix it with somebody that's been with you for the past decade, there's no chance in hell you're ever going to find anybody else to accept all of that and be okay with it. So obviously that did not go over well. And that was the last time we really had any communication other than, you know, kids calling me and stuff like that.
Oh, Jesus.
My biggest hurdle that I'm going to have to get over is just finally accepting that that chapter is closed and I have to start writing a new one without her. Because for the last 10 years, with the exception of this year, because this year's been rough, everything I've done is for us. Other than like, you know, this podcast or my wrestling and shit like that, everything I've done, everything I've set out to do was to build us to be a stronger entity. And now I have to go back and figure out how to do that just for me. You know what I mean? This is the first time in 10 years I've had to genuinely sit back and figure out what I need to do to build. Because I've never been a me person. I've always been an us person. That's going to be the biggest hurdle for me moving forward.